Hello, everybody. Hope all is well. This is going to be a video on completing your binder, your final binder. And again, all information is in the syllabus, and we would want follow Appendix B in order to complete the final binder for the senior assignment. So let's walk you through this, how this is going to go. And then if you have any questions, we can correspond. So again, some of this information for completing the binder you've already done. As you've completed Appendix A, you'll see some overlap. So we'll move towards through the syllabus here, and we'll get through again Appendix B. So again, here's Appendix A that you did for your proposal. But now let's see Appendix B. Again, there will be some overlap, and if there are, you just need to continue and just include that in your final binder. One quick thing about the binder, the final binder, is you should include any relevant revised and edited content that was submitted with the original project proposal as any additional components as outlined below. So in other words, if you decided that you were going to do a particular type of exercise, let's say exercise A, and you decided you didn't want to use that, but instead you did exercise B, what you would do is you would remove exercise A information and you would then include exercise B, but following all the guidelines that we did for the final or the initial binder. So again, any changes, additions from the original project proposal submission should be clearly detailed. For example, if the group ended with a different population or setting than originally submitted, those components should be explained here in the same detail as was originally submitted in the final project. Okay, so again, here are some of the things that you'd want to include in your final binder. Your title page, table of contents, specific program goal, background and significance. Again, most of this should be the same as when you did your initial binder. Again, description, methods of the project. This might be some changes. You might have had some changes based on some adjustments you may have needed to make once you started doing the project. You just need to make sure you make those edits and make that clear here in the description of the methodology section. So up to this point, all of this 1 through 5 should be similar to what you've done so far. The next part is the results of the project. So make sure you're including observations, actual data, data analysis, and your interpretations. Include figures and tables and graphs. The easiest way to do this is to make sure that you actually put results section and you actually would write observations. And then underneath that, you would write a paragraph explaining some of your observations. You would then put 6B, your actual data, analysis, and interpretations. Again, you would actually put that this heading here, and then you would include a paragraph explaining that. And then you would do this so forth and so on for the remaining parts of the results. Again, I would recommend, figures are really good. Tables are really good at summarizing the data. If you have any original data or that's for the individual itself, or individualized data, I should say, that isn't summarized, you should include that in this particular portion, but it's always best and more clear if you summarize that data into, let's say, a figure or a table or some kind of graph, and then you would explain it. Some of the more effective ones I've seen is where you actually might have multiple figures or multiple tables, and you would say table 1, you would show that summarizing a particular type of data, or figure 1, summarizing a particular part of data, and then you would write a paragraph underneath that particular figure or table explaining what it means, and then so kind of summarizing it. And then you would do figure 1 or figure 2, table 2, for example, either or, and then you would explain under that. That tends to be, so you really would essentially have a figure followed by a summary, or a table followed by a summary, and then you would just repeat that. That tends to be the more effective use of presenting your information. So again, did it go as planned? Did you have any barriers or obstacles to overcome? If so, how did you adjust? Again, the easiest way to do this is just simply write the actual heading and then write a paragraph underneath. You would also want a complete copy of the presentation slides that were presented in the Chem 275 class. You would want to include those. I'll provide more information about how to do that in a subsequent video or in class at some point. In this particular case, we'll do it over video, though. You'll have a copy of that and be able to see how to do that. ACSM KSA list. So here's where we need to see a couple of the appendices. So this KSA's list we're going to look at the Appendix E. Here again, you're going to create a table format list of the KSAs that will include the KSA number, the complete description of the KSA, and how you met each particular KSA. So let's look at what Appendix E would look like. So you simply would go to Appendix E in the syllabus, and you see here, and essentially what you would want to do is you simply would say, here's the KSA that you've done, and then here's what you would include. You would want to complete this, how you actually completed it. Okay? You did a lot of this at the initial binder. The difference is now you're using past tense instead of present or future tense. So things should change from we will measure to we measured. And some of these KSAs may have changed, and if so, make sure that you include those changes of the KSA. And if you change your KSA, that's okay. Just make sure you identify how you met that. So you would just use this. This is Appendix E. All right. So the other part is when completing the final binder, is you will notice that you have the evaluation rubric. This is Appendix F. You're going to download and edit the evaluation rubric posted on Blackboard, plug in the specific program goal, and plug in the KSAs used in the project. So for example, you would go simply to Appendix F here. Again, looking in the same syllabus, looking at Appendix F. And what this basically means is all you simply have to do is include in Appendix F your KSAs. So again, your KSAs that you did. This part here, you're going to leave blank because this is what I fill out and I use I make a copy of it, and we have to submit this to our accreditation agency. So simply here, all you have to do is simply just put your KSAs, the 10 KSAs that you did, and simply the rest I will complete whether you met it or you did not meet it. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. All right, so the next thing is under the Appendix B is your discussion and conclusion, and make sure that you can include this. Don't forget this part. Again, easiest thing to do is just have a heading of discussion and conclusion and just write each of the headings, and then with a paragraph or a short description answering each of the questions. So discuss the meaning of your findings to the population. What does that mean about the population? Or the exercise science professionals, what does it mean? Just again, write the actual heading down, the subheading, and answer the question. That's the easiest thing to do. And then just repeat this for the remaining A, B, C, D, and E. That's the easiest thing to complete. Okay. So so basically 1 to 10 is your binder that should be included in your binder. So that all those headings and those questions should be answered. And don't forget, number 11 is an individual reflection. This is each individual student needs to do this. So the binder is by team. Each team just needs to submit one copy of their final binder. However, their individual reflection should be individualized. So each person in the class will need to submit this. And again, all you have to do is follow the directions. It should be typed, 1 page, single space, 12-point font, Times New Roman, and just simply answer these 2 questions. The easiest thing to do is, again, just put the question on top, answer the question underneath it, and then repeat it for B. Okay, it's not supposed to be hard, but make sure you don't forget it. Okay, all right, so this is the information that goes into completing the final binder. If you have individual questions or group questions, make sure that you go ahead and contact me. But again, just follow the Appendix B on how to put it together. And in a subsequent email, I'm going to go ahead or I will go ahead and explain how you are to submit it. Hey, if you have any questions, please let me know.